Hey guys, sorry about that. I think we're going to be able to get the video shot this direction. So let me just get on one other place to make sure I can see everything and talk with you. So I'm going to turn that off and give me a thumbs up if you are on with me. Wanting to see if you're here, so let me get on where I need to be. So I have several projects to share with you with the Simply Succulents bundle. Okay, there we are. Now I can see it. All right, so I just want to get it straightened up a little bit here. Hopefully you can see pretty well. All right. So tonight I'm going to share 3 different projects with you with this stamp set and die bundle. Now I've already done a lot of the stamping and the die cutting, so we're mainly going to focus on some techniques, so hopefully you'll enjoy that. If you have any questions, let me know. Hopefully I'm going to see those, and sometimes they'll pop up here for me and sometimes they don't. If you want, just leave me a comment and I will go back through when the video is over and answer those the best I can. So let me kind of move things in position here. So this is a bundle that you can get that is in the mini catalog right now, and it will be carrying over into the annual catalog. And speaking of the annual catalog, I do have copies of that now. So those have just come in, and I am shipping those to my regular customers right now, and I will also have those available for local pickup soon. So if you're local, I will be contacting you soon to get one of these. If you're not local, just message me and I'll be happy to send one out to you. Okay? This one does not start until May. I believe May the 4th is when that starts. So if you're a Star Wars fan, that should be easy for you to remember. All right, so we're going to get started, and the first project I'm going to show you, we're going to be using this large die. So this die right here is large enough for a card front, and I'm just going to show you how I cut it out, because if you're going to adhere that to a card, as you can imagine, putting glue on all of these little places would be kind of difficult to do. So let me move that aside, and for this project I am going to use the Adhesive Sheets, and if you haven't used these before, they are a great product and they're perfect for these really fine die cuts like this. So let me grab a piece of Pull Party cardstock, and all of this is behind me. If you've seen my other videos, you know I've got everything pretty much within arm's reach. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut this to 6 inches by 11. The Adhesive Sheets, they measure 6 by 12, and so I just want a little bit off of that. So this one I cut to 6 by 11, and I'm just trying to conserve paper here. That's the only reason. And then I'm going to take out one of my Adhesive Sheets also, and I'm going to cut off 1 inch so that this will measure 6 by 11 also. I'm going to go ahead and cut that. And I'm sure some of you know when you stamp, you sometimes have to stand up to do things, and this is one of those projects that I always have to stand up for. So real close, I'll show you. There's 3 little perforation marks on this. So I'm going to just peel that off, and when I peel that backing off, this part right here is just really sticky. So we're going to peel that off, and then I'm going to position that in the corners here. So I'm going to put it right up here and put it all the way along there, and then just kind of burnish that into place. And then I'm going to do the same with the next one. And just line that up again. Now this isn't necessary if you just have regular adhesive and you don't mind putting adhesive on all of those little pieces of that die. This will work great for you. But I like to make things as easy on myself as possible. So I'm gonna just put that on there. So what this does is this makes this entire sheet of Pool Party sticky on the backing. So I will take my die here and then I would run this through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And then once you run that through and you take all the little doodads out of it, let me grab my piece here because I've already done it, because I really didn't think you would want to watch me do that. It's a little too much. So let me see what happened to it. It's over here somewhere. Like I said, everything's usually within arm's reach. I think it probably stuck to something. Hold on. All right. Well, that's no fun, guys. So I have one. Oh, there it goes. It was on top of my catalogs. So I knew it was somewhere. So this is that all with all the little pieces out of it. All right. So I have my card base here, and this is Pool Party cardstock as well. And I could probably sit down now. Let me see. Again, I told you this is going to be an up and down. We're doing all sorts of fun stuff tonight. All right, so I'm just going to take my paper piercing tool and I'm going to lift this backing off of here. And when I do that, it's going to be sticky on all those little areas. So how great is that? So that's going to adhere down perfectly. I don't really have to worry about any of those areas lifting off. So again, adhesive sheets are probably one of those things you definitely want to add to your next order, because you can definitely save yourself some time and a little aggravation with adhesive. So I've got that all pulled off. That's all sticky. Now another fun thing you could do would be to use that on both sides and even like glitter or emboss the side that's got the sticky on it. There's another piece. So you can see I've got that all off of there. And I cut this down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm just going to put that directly onto my card base and burnish that in place. So it just creates a really pretty tone-on-tone look and just really nice in texture. So the other thing we're going to do on that one is we're going to do our focal point. That also fell down in my catalogs. So come back over here. So this is a piece of shimmery white cardstock, and I don't use this a lot, but it's great for watercoloring, and it does have just a really nice, elegant look to it. So I stamped the large succulent image, and then I stamped it in Versamark and then put white embossing powder over it, and then heat emboss that so that it's got that raised image. So hopefully you can see that pretty well there. And I am grabbing, let's see here they are. So I am grabbing our water painters. And this is my first time using those. So like I said, you really have to be patient with me tonight because I'm a little nervous about this. I am going to use this one first. This is the large brush. And you can see how that is there. And I like to always have a paper towel to put underneath my watercoloring. And I like to have one nearby. So I'm just going to kind of put a little bit of water onto here, start getting that a little wet. And I'm going to use, I've got several colors I'm going to use, but I'm just going to put one color at a time because I'm actually going to be layering those colors on top of one another. So I'm going to use my ink pad for the ink, and if you just gently push that pad down onto the lid, you're going to get a little ink well there. And so then I can pick that up, and that's what I'm going to watercolor with. So I'm just going to put kind of a light wash of color around that. And I'm not really wanting a lot of color just yet. I'm just going to layer this a little bit at a time. So right now I'm not really doing detail work. This is pool party, and I'm just kind of wanting to add like a little bit of a watercolor effect around that. And so it's fine that it's not even everywhere. That's actually kind of what I'm looking for. And then if you want to rinse these out, just rinse those in the sink and they're ready to go. I'm gonna grab my paper towel here, and I'm just gonna wipe that out so that I don't create a mess in my pads. All right, so we're gonna set that aside while that one dries. And again, there's 2 more brushes in that, and they're a lot more fine tipped. So we'll use those on some of the detail work that we do on this one later. So this card is gonna get set aside, and we're gonna work on our next little project. So how many of you have Stampin' blends? So I love my Stampin' blends, and I use them all the time. So I've already stamped the succulents here, the little pot, and also this little thanks. And in addition, I have this gusseted cello bag, and these have cute little, what are they? I'd call them little starbursts maybe. And this is some of the In Good Taste paper. And I cut this to 2 7/8 by 4 5/8. Now, if you want all of the supplies that I've used tonight, and some pictures of these projects so that you can have them to do them at home, just send me a message and I will get those to you. I can send those to you through email if you like. All right, so I got to pull up my picture here so I see exactly what I'm coloring. Let me come over. And if you have any questions about anything, just let me know. All right, let me pull that up. All right. Let's see, where did my other picture go? There we go. Yeah, I got it. Okay, so I'm going to start with this large flower here. And I already know the colors that they used. And so this one I'm going to use Calypso Coral. Let me see here. Again, all of mine are always within arm's reach here. So your Stampin' blends always come in a light and a dark. And let me put that one down real quick. Sorry guys, I am just behind the scenes kind of running some stuff here. Trying to make sure if you do have any comments or anything, I can help you with those and still be able to see my pictures. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Now I have it set up just the way I want it. Okay, so I'm going to take, and this was a pumpkin pie, not a Calypso, so I gotta grab my correct one here. Let's see, that's Cajun. Sorry guys. Okay, here's our dark Calypso Coral. And that was pumpkin pie too. Okay, so I have those where I need them. All right. So I'm going to start just by going on the inside of each one of these little petals. And I'm just going to do a little bit of that Calypso Coral. Again, I'm just coming out from like the little, almost like the little V shapes on these. Again, if you haven't used these before, these are super fun to play with. I definitely color a lot more now that I have these, and you certainly can't have too many colors of them. But this Calypso Coral is really great for those really kind of pinkish succulents, so I do love it. I'll give you some other colors that you can use for that too. But I do most of this little detail work first because I just find it's easier to get that done first, and then you can go in with your lighter color and you'll be able to do that. So, and again, I'm not doing anything super fancy on that, just getting some color on there. And then I'm going to take the light one, and I'm just going to go out from there. And that just, between the two of those, just leaves that little bit of shading on there. So let me know if the succulents are something that you could see yourself making cards with. I find people either love these or it just doesn't really do much for you. I didn't really love them at first, but they kind of grown on me after a while. So, and I do love to color, so. And I'm not doing a fancy job of coloring tonight. I am coloring just to kind of show you a quick demo of it. And that's the thing, you really don't have to be perfect with these. That's one of the things that's really nice about them. I'm going to go back in and do a little bit more here, a little bit in there. Yeah, because you can always add more color if you want to. And I do have some other tips. I mean, if you want to get really good with your coloring, I can definitely show you some other ways to make that stand out more. But again, we just want to kind of go over that and blend those down. I don't mind if my lines show too much. And if you're really concerned about the lines, take the little nub tip and you just want to go over that way. And that'll really help you kind of move that color out. Okay, so I've got our big bold color there. And on the little one here, I'm going to want to do two different colors. So I'm going to do soft sea foam on this one, and also I'm going to do some Rococo Rose, I think. So let me grab soft sea foam. That was mint, so that's not the right one. So I'm going to do that first, and I'm just going to use the lighter one on this. So I'm going to come in here and do this little succulent up here. And again, I am just, this color is great for that. We actually have a couple of new ink colors that I can't wait to use with this set, and they should be really pretty with it. Yeah, I guess since the Rococo Rose is retiring, it's probably not available. So I am going to go ahead and use, I think, a different color. I think I'm going to go ahead and do Highland Heather on that instead, because I think that will look just as nice and still give that same effect. So I'm going to grab my Highland Heather. I'm going to take the lighter version, and all I'm going to do is just kind of go and tip on this. So anywhere there's these little fine lines, I'm just going to kind of go in there and add a little bit of that. I'm sure you've seen the succulents that have those different colors to them. That's kind of the effect I'm looking for, but I'm just barely touching that down onto those leaves, just right onto the tips of them to give it that effect. And there we go. I'll pull this up so you can see there. All right. And then my next color that I want to do, I'm going to do some Old Olive, I believe. So let me find Old Olive. And again, I'm just going to really use the lighter one. I think that one will look best. So I go in here, and I'm going to do the Old Olive. And I'm not really doing anything more than the light one. I'm just going to go in and use the lighter one here. we want to color it and make it look pretty, but we also don't want to spend all night on this one. So I've got that one done, and then I'm going to do the old olive in the dark on this one, so you can see how much darker this one is. And you know, if you do get it too dark, we do have what's called a color lifter, and you can go in and kind of lift some of that color if it is too dark for what you're looking for. All right, so I'm just going to get this one colored that darker green. And does anybody have a wish list of what they want to see out of that new catalog? I always like to hear what you want to see on that. So I'm going to do the dark sea foam down here. And again, I'm going to just, it's darker than those, so it adds just that other layer of color. And we'll go ahead and get it over here too. But you can see that this just allows me to have lots of different shades of green and get all of that done. And I did grab that Rococo Rose, but I think instead I'm going to touch with this. And this again is that Calypso Coral we used on that big one. I'm just going to do a little bit of color, just kind of dabbing that around. And you can see there, I've got my little arrangement done. Okay, so I also need to color on the basket there. I am going to use Smoky Slate, and Smoky Slate's a color I use quite a bit actually, and it's going to match really well with that. So I'm going to just come in and I'm going to do a little dark line under here and over here on the side and this way, just to kind of make it look as if the light's coming from this direction over here, so that we get a darker shadow this way. And then I'm going to take my lighter one and I'm just going to come out from that, and I'm trying to pick up that color over there on the side to bring that over. So again, not a fancy coloring technique, but just enough to give that some shading and some depth. You're not really going to see too much of the rest of that on there. So, but you can see that just gives that little extra bit of depth and color on there. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and put this on my bag. So I think for this one, I'm going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals. So let me grab those. And you can never have too many of these. This is one of my absolute favorite products. I swear I go through probably 3 packages of these a month. And that's no kidding. So inside this little treat bag, I would probably put like a little candy bar, or even like a little notepad would be very cute. You can do whatever you want to give away. All right. So we're going to put this right here, and I'm going to go ahead and add a few down here, all along this top part. There we go. Let me grab those off of there. So yeah, of all the ways to color, this is probably my favorite, but I am going to show you a couple of other fun techniques tonight too. So I'm going to put our little thanks on top. I'm going to put that right over my here. Super cute. And I'm going to tie that up with some of the snail mail twine. The snail mail twine is just really a basic white baker's twine, so it's really versatile. If you haven't gotten that, that's a great thing to have. And I'm just going to tie that up, and of course whatever I put in there, there's plenty of room for it. Like I said, a little candy bar would be great. And let's see. I might get a knot tied in that first just so that it'll stay still. And then I'm going to do a bunny ears bow. And I don't know if you know what a bunny ears bow is, but I will show you. You're just going to take 2 loops and pull them up like bunny ears, cross them over each other, and pull through the hole. And that creates a cute little bow for you. So we've got a cute little treat container here. And you know, if you don't want to make a treat container, you could certainly do change this into a card. That would be easy to do. Is just add those same elements to a card front, and that would work also. So hope you like that one. So there's one project down, but we need to go back to our watercoloring. So I'm going to bring that back in, and as you can see, I've allowed that to dry with the pool party, which is perfect. And let me get all my blends out of the way, and let's see what color we want to go to next. So I need to go to my picture here. And there we go. So I think I'm going to do the mint macaron. So again, I'm going to squeeze that on there, not enough to break it, but enough to get some ink on there. And obviously I didn't squeeze it hard enough. And if you don't squeeze it hard enough, if you can't get the ink on there really good, you can even just take a drop of the re-inker and do that too. That works just as well. So there's 2 fine tips, but I'm going to take this one. I think it's got just a little bit more. I'm going to drop some water in there. And I'm going to go in and just start coloring kind of here in the center. I want that to pick up. Now what's going to happen, because we've also done this embossing, is you're going to get a resist effect with this also. And so that is going to, the white areas are going to resist the ink, and you're not going to see that color on there. I'm going to just kind of go all the way through there, push that color into those spots. And we don't want this to be perfect. This is a forgiving project. So I'm going to just do this color here, and then I'm going to grab some old olive and do something similar with some of these other ones too. Again, I'm not squeezing hard enough, so you may need to grab the husband or somebody with a little more hand strength to do that if you can't get it quite right. So again, I'm going to add a drop of water or 2 to that. Got a real pretty color in there. And again, I'm just going to put some color, and these will just kind of settle into those spots and dry. And my final color is going to be some Highland Heather. And that's going to add that little bit of purple that we love in these succulents. So definitely want to get these all colored up. Perfect. And then I can layer in that purple as a final color. So I've got my 2 greens and my pool party in there, and I'm pretty happy with the way that looks so far. So again, I'm going to just wipe that out. Keep it pretty clean, and I can set those aside. So the next one I'm really pretty excited about because it turned out super cool. I think you guys are going to like it. So I'm going to set that aside to dry, and I cut a piece of that larger die cut with thick Whisper White cardstock. And I love to use the thick because it's very sturdy, and it's great for stenciling also. So we are going to use a note card, and these measure 3.5 inches by 5. And I am going to grab also one of my silicone mats. So I'm just going to put this in place, and we're going to use this as a stencil over it. So I want to just get a little bit of Scotch tape to hold it in place. And again, I do have the supply list for all of these projects. If you want that, just send me a quick message and I will be happy to send that to you. Okay, so I've got that there. And the next thing I'm going to be using is some embossing paste. And I love this stuff. You'll see that I keep mine stored in the plastic bag and keep it sealed. I had my first can of this dried up super quick, so I'm sure it depends on what part of the country you live in as far as how quickly it will dry up, but I keep mine sealed up pretty darn tight so that it won't dry up. And then we do have tools that you can use with the paste. So I'm just going to scoop out a pretty generous amount. I'm just going to stir it a little bit first. And I'm going to put that down on the card. And what I'm doing is just kind of, think of it almost like frosting a cake. You're wanting that to get into all those little nooks and crannies. And when we remove this stencil, then we are going to have that beautiful succulent image raised and embossed on there. So it adds so much beautiful texture to your card. And I'm really kind of excited about how this card turns out. Like I said, I haven't finished it yet, so I've got it partially done. But you just want to really make sure this whole thing is covered. And really an even layer. Once you get it on there pretty evenly, then you can really kind of smooth it around and make sure that it's good. So I just kind of take the back of that, and I can take off any extra if I don't need it. There we go. And believe it or not, this doesn't take that long to dry. I'm really kind of surprised at how quick it is. I mean, you definitely do want to give it a little bit of time. This wouldn't be a card you want to make and then just, you know, have it ready for someone in 5 minutes. That's not going to work. But you can definitely have it ready in an hour for someone. So I'm going to go ahead and close that up, and it goes back in the plastic bag. So I would just let this sit for a little while, let that dry. I'm just going to put that over here, and I'm going to show you what the dry one looks like because it is beautiful. All right, so this is the one that I did earlier. Look how gorgeous that is. And it's got that great raised textured detail. So that's not coming off. That looks really good. Okay, so I did some die cuts, and I need to grab my watercolor pencils because those are what we're going to use on these die cuts. So again, we're going to do some coloring just like we did on the others. And I'm going to grab this and this. So let me again grab my picture so I can see what I'm doing. Wrong way. Okay. So I'm going to grab my Old Olive watercolor pencil, which is right here. I'm also going to grab my white one. And I'm just going to take this and I'm going to just add some detail to these little leaves. So all I'm doing is just adding some little stripes to those leaves. So you can see that right there. Let me keep doing those. And you know, the watercolor pencils are just an easy way to be able to do like some soft color on there, and you really don't have to be just perfect with them either. Just use that, get some color on there, and then if you want it, you could go back over it and add more, but that's all I'm going to put on those. So these were die cut with soft sea foam, and so adding that little bit of Old Olive just gives them a little more texture. And I could certainly do the same with the old olive little die cuts. And all of the little labels, everything that I've used on these cards, I didn't use any die cuts other than the succulent die cuts. So this is a great little set. Okay, so I've got my little lines on there. And I think I'm going to take the white here and do just some a little bit on these. So not much, but I just want it to look like a little bit of texture on those too. So you don't have to do that on all of them, just, you know, wherever you want it to look like there's some light. Again, I'll do that over there too. Okay. And then I'm going to grab my multi-purpose liquid glue, and I'm going to do a little bit of that on this succulent leaf. We're going to kind of come right out of the middle here. I'm going to do the other one down here, like so. And then I'm going to put, so this would have been a good one to use those adhesive sheets on too, don't you think? Should have thought ahead on that. So if you like these projects and you want to see more with the succulents, I'm going to have to come up with some ideas myself, but I could definitely do that in our next live video. So I'm going to put this one down here. We're just going to join all of those in the middle. Another one. I don't think I need 4 of them. I'm just going to use 3. If you think it needs 4, let me know. I'll add another one. But we're just going to throw that in there too, like that. And then I want some dimensionals. And I'm going to add this to the center. We're going to make sure that we've got some extra ones on there so that that can really kind of cover that up. All right. And it says, you make the ordinary extraordinary. You can see just how pretty that looks on there. And then I'm going to take just a little bit of linen thread. And again, I'm going to just tie a little bunny ear bow. I'll do that just like so. Okay. Just trim that down. And I should probably grab a glue dot for that. So let me jump up and grab one. I think I've got some right here behind me. And I'm just going to put that glue dot right here, peel the backing off, and then I've got a place for my little bow there. Okay, so we have that card completed. So there is that one, and then of course we did this one earlier. So we have 2 out of our 3 done. We're still working on this last one here. So for the final step, I think this is mostly dry, with all of those pretty colors. I'm going to use the very fine water painter, and I'm going to use the Highland Heather with that. So I just want to add a little bit of that color. So let me squeeze it good. There we go. I'm going to squeeze a little water in there. And I'm just going to go in and kind of throw some purple on those. I don't know how much I want, but I just wanted to kind of pick up little hints of that. and those colors just kind of really bleed together. It's very pretty. I really want that purple kind of coming in. There we go. That's a little better. Okay. So we have a lot of different color with that now. Set this aside, give that just a moment to dry. And we have our card here, our card base. This is going to go right on there. Okay, so you can see where that's going to go. And usually on these, I'll let them kind of dry. I'm going to speed this one along a little bit just so that we can get it done. And I'm going to use some of the Stampin' Seal Plus on the back of this one. And that's just because I want this to lay as flat as it possibly can. And usually if your card is even just a little bit damp, it's kind of best to let it dry overnight so that it doesn't warp on you. And I'm going to go ahead and just put that on so we can get it finished up. Okay, got that there. And then I want just a little bit of some pool party ribbon. I'm just going to take, it's about a 3 to 4 inch piece. I'm going to put it right here. And again, I'm just putting my Stampin' Seal Plus on that, just like so. And then I've got my greeting stamp. This one says you've been on my mind. And I'm going to go ahead and put some dimensionals on the back of that. Now, if this were a Melissa card, we would also probably throw some pearls or some sequins or some gems on there. But again, these are designed by Stampin' Up, so I'm just following directions and sharing with you. And there is this little card done also. So just a fun one. So let me bring all of those back in so you can take a look. And again, if you would like the directions for those, I'm more than happy to share those with you. So you've got all 3 of those. And again, that is with the Simply Succulents bundle. So this is the stamp set. And then you also have the coordinating dies to go with that. So hope you enjoyed these projects. And again, if you have any questions for me, just leave those in the comments. I will be more than happy to answer those for you. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a great evening.